And how are you doing today, my generational Geralds? It is your favorite friendly neighborhood fugitive bringing you entertainment from the safety and comfort of your own home from your cupboards. Why? Because I love you, Gerald. Bro, work has been kicking my ass. That's where the videos have been. That's long story short. But I have, in the meantime, been kind of doom scrolling. And by doom scrolling, I mean it's the spooky season, Geralds. I've been kind of wanting to get scared, and I've been looking up the most horrific, terrifying creatures in all of fiction, and they are not what I thought they were. I mean, you got the Q from All Tomorrow's video coming out, by the way, later this week. You got Judge Holden from Blood Meridian. I hope I'm saying it right, bro. And then you got M. I forget where M's from. But, you know, video coming out on all three of those. But before all three of those, I got a special one for you because I saw this kind of trending on Twitter for a little bit. I don't think it's trending anymore. But people were talking about Shockwave went too far. The Transformer? There's no way, bro. Like, I know Transformers get crazy, but like, they talk about Shockwave better than the Joker. Shockwave beat Ultron Shredder. Y'all, the previous video, Ultron Shredder. How y'all liking the links, by the way? Y'all gotta check them out. That's crazy. So I really want to see. Put me on. And nobody can put me on better than Mr. Normal Person. Because this man has like 22 minutes of pure. This is a list of his crime, bro. Apparently, I think this is a list of his crimes. How do I know that, bro? It took me a while to record this. I do know the first, like, that part of the video, the first 4 seconds. He would not stop talking.
Ironic.
Like, check this out.
This is a list of just some of the things that Shockwave's done. I knew he was
Some. Run it back! How far?
This is a list of just some of the things that Shockwave's done. I knew he was bad.
But damn.
Say hello to Shockwave.
Hey, free my bro.
Seeing himself as a servant of logic more than a servant of Megatron, Shockwave sees his lack of emotions and empathy as a strength more than anything else. Let's take a few minutes to look across the continuities.
Wait, no. We finna peep all of this. So he already has lack of emotions and empathy. So keep that in mind. Oh my God. What panel did we stop on? You took who is this? Somebody in Transformers world lore, bro, that's deep in there. Fill me in. Who is that? What is he doing this to? What is he doing to?
And ask whether Shockwave is the most evil Transformer ever. He created some of the most notorious. He trained some of the most sadistic. He
Was that Megatron?
traveled to rewrite Cybertronian history and religion. He turned a Titan into a monstrous undead Titan. He set up his own vacation resort in the Caribbean. He's tried to destroy Earth on many an occasion.
So he's a Joker ass nigga, so he just be doing shit. Okay.
Got a little punny, Batman. I got a little punny.
Oh no, Joker.
Don't tell me. Yeah, you already know, Batman. You know what I'm gonna do to that thing.
Joker, it's an animal, Joker, you can't.
Batman, there's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman. I can do whatever.
And of course, he tried to snuff out the whole entire universe a couple of times. But you know, palm trees and stuff. His
couple times. Multiple? That nigga just, okay.
list of evil deeds is long, so let's get stuck right in. But before we do, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff, because I might do similar vids for Flame and, I don't know, Tarn. Let's see how it goes. So when
that's Tarn. Okay.
you see Shockwave getting...
Bro, I only know, before anybody gets on me right now, I only know old Transformers lore.
Stuck in gun mode and then shoved down Bruticus's dorsal cannon.
And by old Transformers lore, I mean, bro, I'm 24. What do you expect? I seen this when I was like, no comment.
And blasted out like someone plugged a dolphin's blowhole with a banana. It might be hard to imagine Shockwave being all that evil, but just wait. Let's start with Transformers Prime, as Megatron's second-in-command, who was left behind to watch over Cybertron in Megatron's absence, during which time he managed to reverse engineer space bridge tech, with what must have been very, very limited resources. So this guy is not just a fearsome warrior, he's a genius scientist, and he's a cold, calculating tactician who eventually clones the savagely powerful Predaking and unleashes him on the Autobots. In the Marvel Comics continuity, he was commanding the ship that shot down the
I'm sorry, I paused. Well, I'm not really sorry. This is a reaction. Shout out to Mr. Nowhere.
Very limited resources. So this guy is not just a fearsome warrior, he's
I just need to see that. Was that a fucking robot dinosaur?
Scientist, and he's a cold, calculating tactician who eventually clones the savagely powerful Predaking and unleashes him on the Autobots.
That's a fucking robot. Look how terrible is that? That's Megatron. I know that. I know this is Megatron. He's terrified. Who the fuck is the Predaking?
In the Marvel Comics continuity, he was command.
What was that? Motherfucker summoned a god. Motherfucker summoned a goddamn a robotic Tarrasque.
Commanding the ship that shot down the Transformers Ark and became stuck in tar after a confrontation with the Dinobots. He gained leadership when Megatron consumed Poison Energon. He killed a bunch of weakened Autobots and strung up their bodies, literally ripping this guy in half. And he decapitated Optimus Prime.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Shockwave had me pressed back then. But now it's Big Prime in this bitch. And you, yes, you out there watching this video, why don't you show me and your boy Noodle some love by liking, sharing his content, and subbing? I heard he's giving out war moons to y'all now.
Bro, where can you lock him up in a black hole? Guarded by like Superman Prime and like Zod Prime.
And then he worked with Ratbat on the Club Con plot, which was, get this, running a holiday resort on a tropical island, which was actually a Decepticon war cruiser in disguise. He was going to use this base to drain energy from the Earth's ocean or something. I don't know, you know, it was fun while it lasted. Keeping it lighthearted. He was also in the Transformers Creo stop-motion animation, where he was a judge in a dance competition.
Please say dance off, please say dance off.
And he was pretty biased, like he scored Starscream really highly when he clearly sucked, and scored B really low when he was smooth. In G1, like in many continuities, he invented space bridge tech, so of course the plan to bring Cybertron to Earth, resulting in wild weather patterns across the globe, was ultimately his doing.
So, tried to kill humanity.
So climate change is ultimately his fault too. The first
Damn, the nigga's responsible for climate change?
Okay, I have the eggs.
Oh my gosh.
Check it out, 120 degrees.
120. And the sidewalk temp, 167.
Yep. Here we go. Can you hear it?
Hottest day.
Last time we saw him messing around with time travel was when he built the Chronosphere, which they were going to use to bring Energon back from the past. And also, he tried to blast the aerial bots back to a time before there was even a galaxy.
Them just tactics. Them just tactics. It is what it is.
They're so naive.
And he commanded the Decepticons in their attack against Unicron.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, his death was written into the original Transformers the movie script, but it didn't make the cut of the movie. But he was shown in the 2005 graphic novel as being killed by Unicron, being caught in the blast of Unicron's I-beams, which is why he wasn't.
He survived that? No, wait. Wait. I mean, he said his death was written, but like, nah, it's Unicron. I know Unicron. I know Unicron from Death Battle. You can't come. Oh my God, who the fuck is outside my house? Ezra Miller?
It was me, Barry. I made them draw Lola Bunny with fewer sexual features so that you wouldn't be horny. Reduce your blood flow to make you a millisecond slower. Slow enough for me to kill Iris. Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend, and you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch.
Damn. Y'all hear that? I don't know if y'all can hear that. Bro, it sounds like Y2K is happening outside my shit.
He-Man, it's Freak Man. Just wanted to let you know that I took care of Ezra Miller for you. So could you help a nigga out to oil up for me? I mean, could I oil up for you? Look, nigga, I don't have all day. Gotham needs a hero, and I'm bricked up, so we doing this or what?
It deadass sounds like they're chasing down like criminals and Spider-Man's whipping past them. Like, don't worry, guys, I got it.
I just love my dog. 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 I just love my dog.
Moving on.
Wasn't in Season 3 and Season 4 of the Gen 1 series. In Transformers Energon, he was as big a threat to the Decepticons as he was to the Autobots, openly stating that he wanted to overthrow Megatron in what was a more brash and arrogant take on the character called Shock Blast. This guy shot an Autobot.
Shockwave is so much better. You changed his fucking name. Shock Blast is ass.
Called Padlock.
It's so ass, it rhymes with it.
In the back, and later tried to get control of Unicron, which backfired and ended up with Unicron controlling him, and he went on a rampage before being crushed like a bug.
Okay, I see where he's fucking up. He's losing control of Unicron. Stop going control of Unicron.
By the Chaos Dealer. Yeah, this was a pretty different version of the character, and wasn't the sharpest tool in the box. In Cyberverse, he planned to use a pair of magnetic disruptors to cleanse the Earth of all organic life to make the hunt for the Allspark easier, and he built a planet smasher on the moon. Then planned to use rockets to push the moon into Earth, destroying it, again allowing them to find the Allspark in the debris. In the Fall of Cybertron comics, Shockwave might not have created Grimlock, but he was the reason that he got a dinosaur alt mode. He did horrific experiments on poor Grimmy, his machinery stripping him down to his bare components, until at one
hurt friends no hurt. Oh. So to break this down, before he says anything, I know y'all haven't seen, if y'all haven't seen my video, go see CJ's video, bro. There's a point in like Ultron, like with the Ultron Shredder, where he like strips Baxter Stockman, his like right-hand smart guy, like his go-to guy, down to nothing but a brain, and like he's nothing but a nervous system. He's nothing but a nervous system. That's essentially what we're looking at. Not a Transformer version of that. Nothing but nerves. All of this is like nerves and just a brain. Oh my God.
At one point, there was almost nothing left. Basically,
oh my God.
Basically flaying, if you think about it. Ugh. But he's also the reason he's so dumb, as he broke into Grimlock's mind and reduced a highly intelligent bot into a feral berserker.
He was highly intelligent. Baxter kept his fucking sense. At least Shredder let him keep his fucking intelligence. No.
Oh, and speaking of Fall of Cybertron, I'm doing a playthrough on my gaming channel. I'm going to start off with doing Transformers Devastation, then War for Cybertron if I can find a copy, then Fall of Cybertron. Links below. Right, where were we? In the Dreamwave continuity, we saw Shockwave that would occasionally work with the Autobots, mostly because of the lack of Energon forced him to, but again, it's a good example of him putting logic above all else. He worked with Jetfire to investigate the Chaos Trinity, made up of Bludgeon, Bugly, and Mindwipe, who were messing around with the dark arts to try and open the Well of Sparks to gain the powers of the Fallen. But Shockwave cooperated with Grimlock to form a coalition to bring them down and seal the well. More on the Well of Sparks later. He then led an attack on the city of Iacon, instructing his troops to show zero mercy towards the Autobots, and later showed his power when he killed 2 Guardian robots with 1 blast from his gun mode. After they breached the Autobot base, Shockwave blasted Prowl before the whole op was messed up by Starscream when he started up a planetary engine. It had been going pretty well for the Decepticons up until this point.
In his defense, it was just get back, Your Honor. In my client's defense, Your Honor, it was get back.
Starscream. Shockwave later studied Astrotrain and Blitzwing to try and come up with more Transformers with multiple alt modes, but because of Energon running low at that stage, he came up with the more efficient Micromasters instead. But then they complained that they weren't getting their fair share of Energon and defected to the Autobots. Shockwave dropped them a little visit to say, fine, you're free to go if you want to, but secretly planted a tracker on them to monitor their movements. Funnily enough, one of the Micromasters, Flanker, did change his mind and wanted to come back to the Decepticons, but Shockwave tossed him to some cannibalistic Insecticons to be splattered and devoured, again showing that at no point were the Micromasters meaningful to him. He just saw them as a way to further his goal. At one point, Cybertron ran out of energy altogether and all the bots went into stasis in what was known as the Great Shutdown. But Shockwave was saved from Sharkticons, then rebooted by Scourge, only for Shockwave to turn around and shoot him in the back. Oh, thank
Your Honor, in my client's defense, he did not know. He didn't know who it was. Like, if you woke up from your sleep and saw like a figure standing over your bed, would you not swing? I would.
Thanks for saving me. Now die. Apparently, he did this to get all of the knowledge that Scourge had gathered in his exploration of the universe. He later supercharged himself before shooting.
Your Honor, Your Honor. Is the pursuit of information a crime?
From Magnus in the back. No! Defeating Optimus Prime before ripping the Matrix of Leadership out of his chest. Which he...
Your Honor! Your Honor! I got nothing for that one. Like, Your Honor, he looked at him sideways.
He then used to activate vector signal.
Your Honor, he simply looked at my client crossways.
Before I pass sentence, what do you have to say for yourself, Mr. Kyler?
Well, what the hell would you do? That some bitch looked at me crossways.
He looked at you crossways. That's your defense.
Yeah, he looked at me crossways.
Counsel, approach the bench, please. You're looking at an uphill battle here, Counselor.
I know.
I mean, he did look at him crossways.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I mean, you know, this is Georgia.
I know.
We are still very backward in many ways.
And download a bunch of data that he may or may not have used in the creation of Six Shot. And I'll have a vid on him at some point too.
There's a whole video. Your Honor, my client is in no way related to Six Shot. In his creation, he was just trying to bring new life into the universe. He had no idea the crime Six Shot would commit later on.
Don't you worry. Now, in the middle of this particular storyline, Dreamwave Comics went bankrupt, so this one never got finished. But we do know that Shockwave would have gone back to the Well of Sparks and broken open the Seal of Primus itself to siphon from within the well the power needed to create life. Little did he know that he had loosened the essence of the Fallen himself in the process, a consciousness which had gone on to take root inside Sunstorm. Alright, moving on, in Transformers G.I. Joe,
Your Honor, maybe he's calling the Fallen because maybe in the process of doing that, he thought that like the Fallen could get up. You ever think about that, Your Honor? Maybe the Fallen could get up with the help of Shockwave, and he would not be fallen no more. I rest my case.
Bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
He defeated Combiner Superion by turning into a huge artillery cannon, in another very cool take on the showing of how powerful his gun mode is. And in the comic called Infestation, he bowed down to accept the rule of H.P. Lovecraft's Elder Gods. More about that in my wildest Transformer crossover vid, which will also definitely include the time Shockwave became a ghost in Transformers Ghostbusters, and how, because of Shockwave's space bridge tech, which malfunctioned to open a portal between realities, causing the Cybertronians to cross over.
Is that fucking Pinkie Pie? Discovering how much pony it takes to fuel one Decepticon. Your Honor. Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor. In my client's defense, Oil is made from life forms over the course of millions and millions of years. My client simply did not have the time to wait that long.
Into the My Little Pony universe of Equestria, which gave us that mad crossover where, from what I understand, Shockwave was going to make...
Perhaps you're struggling, dear, because you're attempting to control a world you've never bothered to understand, whereas we found ways to work together and combine our strength. Y'all gonna hate me, but I actually know a little bit of My Little Pony lore, and by a little bit, I mean more than I'm comfortable sharing. What the fuck is Rarity doing with Shockwave? Oh, that's Pinkie Pie, and that's Fluttershy. That's Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy in that box. Why the fuck did Shockwave got Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy in the box? Where the fuck is Twilight Sparkle? Why do I want to read this low-key? Let me know if y'all want to check this out. I'm curious.
Ponies into Energon. I don't know. I haven't looked into that one yet. In the 2014 Transformers vs. G.I. Joe, he tipped over an aircraft carrier before incinerating a bunch of humans with his I-beam.
Your Honor, they shot first. Look at the panel. Self-defense.
While yelling, "Fry your mans!"
Your Honor, they shot first. Self-defense.
I don't know.
He thought he was going to die, Your Honor.
Of Masters and Mayhem, he tried to engineer a bot based on Optimus, but the experiment went awry and it somehow developed the ability to produce a toxic sludge, hence it becoming known as Toxitron, before it escaped and murdered his creators Loud Pedal and Oil Slick.
Your Honor, again, my client is just simply a life bringer. He is in no way, shape, or form responsible for the crimes committed by the life forms he creates.
Optimus copy was used to grow a copy of the Matrix, which Shockwave used to contain the spark of Thunderwing. This thing came to be known as the Matrix of Malice, and was used by the Mayhem Attack Squad. These guys were like the Con version of the Wreckers, and they even combined to form Thunder Mayhem, who the Wreckers countered by combining to form the combiner known as Wreckage, the most Decepticon-looking Autobot combiner ever. Now, I just found out about these guys, so unfortunately I didn't include them in most powerful combiners, but I will definitely find a spot to talk about them further down the line. Moving on. In War for Cybertron Siege, he himself chose to delete his emotions. Elsewhere, it was something that was forced upon him, but more on that later. He discovered that the Allspark was real and planned to mess with the Allspark's energy to convert all Autobots into Decepticons, something which Megatron thought was kind of extreme. He was kind of...
Your Honor, my client simply wanted to unify the world, his species. Is that such a crime? Is that a crime?
Hesitant about.
If every Autobot is a Decepticon and everybody's a Decepticon, nobody will be. It's just a religion.
But if you thought that was bad, he tortured Ultra Magnus after the dude willingly gave himself up.
Your Honor, he willingly gave himself up. Torture. Your Honor, shit, you didn't tell me he did that.
I just didn't think it would come
Your
up,
Honor,
honestly.
Your Honor. He willingly gave himself up. Shockwave. Yeah.
And then came...
Your Honor, it was a simple aura check. He simply did not have enough aura, Your Honor.
Up with the virus to destroy the Alpha Trion protocols that Magnus's death had unleashed, and he used Magnus's corpse to unleash the virus despite a worry that it could damage Cybertron's infrastructure. Nah, don't worry about that. This whole thing did reveal the Autobot arc though, so winner winner chicken dinner. After the Allspark was thrown into the space bridge and the Autobots pursued it on the arc, Shockwave persuaded Megatron to harvest Energon from his own troops to use in his completion of an enormous battlecruiser called the Nemesis, an act that shocked even Megatron, but he eventually went along with it anyway. So Megsy left to follow the arc, and Shockwave stayed behind. So what did he do? Yep, he harvested a bunch more Decepticons to power himself and his guards. God knows what he would have done to Elita 1 here had this alarm not gone off. And...
Your Honor, that was a simple medical procedure. He was just finna check her servos.
develop cloaking tech for himself. I mean, you know, morally horrific, but you know, I bet he had a load of fun with that. Morally dubious fun. But we definitely need to spend a little while talking about the IDW version of Shockwave, because his actions spanned hundreds of thousands of years and had consequences for the entire universe. But to get a good picture of who this guy is, we need to look at his backstory. So long before the Cybertronian Civil War, he was a prodigal student of Jyaxus. At this stage, Shockwave was far from the guy we know. He was pretty expressive and emotional, changing his color often and frequently having emotional outbursts. As the Cybertronian Empire grew, they needed more and more energon to fuel their expansion. Hearing of the prophecy of Dark Cybertron, Shockwave sets about creating a self-sustaining energy source, so started experimenting with ores created from distilled energon. Jyaxus was humiliated when his creation Monstructor was beaten by Omega Supreme, so Jyaxus left aboard an Ark, leaving Shockwave to pick up his mantle, and he started studying ancient Cybertronian history, including the 13, being the first 13 Transformers created by Primus.
Ooh!
Huge.
Who the fuck is this nigga? I want to know who this is right now. That doesn't even look like a Transformer. That looks like a fucking Mystic. Nigga got magic?
Powerful and a prime in their own right. And as it turns out, Shocky Baby had a hand in that too, so we'll come back to that.
He had a hand in the creation of the primes? Oh, fuck.
Shocky Baby. Anyway, Shockwave became a senator and spent loads of the Treasury's dollar on research projects that saw him founding many off-world colonies, helping the supernaturally gifted Transformers called Outliers, vid coming on them soon, meeting the legendary Omega Guardians, and he even learned of a mythical artifact called the Magnificence.
The fuck is the Magnificence? There's so much lore. Oh my god, there's so much Transformers lore.
Growing dissatisfied with the Senate, he modified a few select Cybertronians to be able to carry the matrix of leadership in their chests, in the hope that one of them would become Prime and steer the society away from the corrupt ways of the Senate. Among them was a certain security bot called Orion Pax. So Shockwave, a pretty productive member of Cybertronian society so far, right? The corruption in the Senate was proven when the current Prime Nominus was assassinated by Sentinel, with Senator Shockwave next on his list, basically because Sentinel hated Outliers. And so they subjected him not only to shadow play, a process where his emotion processors were cut out to forever alter his personality, but Sentinel also subjected him to Imperator, a punishment that involved removing his hands and head and replacing them with generic ones.
Removing his hands and head and replacing them with generic ones? And he removed his emotions? Oh. Your Honor, my client is a victim. He can't be guilty.
All that gave us the Shockwave we are familiar with, but rather than subdue and subjugate our guy and make him fall into line like what they wanted, all the Senate did was remove his morality, with him instead falling back on the cold, unfeeling ruthlessness that is logic. He joined the Decepticons and agreed to give Megatron a combiner for his arsenal, in exchange for a lab and funding to continue his research. He then went back to his plan for a self-sustaining energy source, which was now coined Regenesis, and involved shooting a bunch of missiles, each loaded with a different ore, to a selection of different planets to see how they would develop under the differing planetary conditions. He spent 500,000 years traveling from planet to planet studying the properties of the ores on these planets, one including Earth. But just think about that, even in Cybertronian terms, that's a big chunk of years. That is the patience and meticulousness that we're talking about here. Anyway, he found that one ore had become a highly volatile explosive. One could suck the life force from everything around it.
One ore became a highly volatile explosive? Damn.
And one even had the ability to transcend time and give him brief glimpses of the future. Like he even shot Dreadwing dead just to test one of these ores, just to see if the ore would bring him back to life. Thankfully for Dreadwing, it did.
Your Honor, my client may have accidentally, allegedly, possibly, in another alternate timeline in GTA,
He looked at me crossways.
done the first action. But then the guy survived, so I mean, what are we here for, Your Honor?
Whilst he was on Earth studying one of these ores, he started another particularly cruel experiment. He happened to come across the Maximals, managed to erase their memories, and brainwash them into thinking that they were other important figures from the Cybertronian War, then set them about ripping chunks out of each other for years so he could wargame and analyze. Jesus, man. He removed the Achilles virus from Overlord, which was a great idea. See, Overlord was nearly invincible because of the processes Megatron put him through, but Megatron didn't want his newest superweapon turning against him, oh no. So he had Shockwave install a failsafe virus. But to bargain his freedom from prison Garrus 9, he agreed to remove it. Overlord being one of the murderiest, sadistic...
Your Honor, yes, he agreed to remove that. Yes, it is possible that my client allegedly in another alternate timeline possibly knew that Overlord had those tendencies.
Oh, 100%. I always knew from the get-go.
Who's the real villain here? My client, Megatron, or Overlord? Or Megatron and Overlord for putting my client in that position in the first place? Both putting the failsafe in Overlord and having Overlord having him take the failsafe out. Put my client in a victim position. My client is the victim here, Your Honor. Case closed.
Murderers that ever sailed the seven seas. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Then later, after Megatron was catastrophically damaged, Shockwave rebuilt Megatron into this terrifying form, which somehow included a space bridge, which we'll come back to. Shockwave used parts of Megatron's old body to make copies of his gun mode to distribute amongst the human population, knowing that they would inevitably turn them on each other and pew-pew each other into oblivion.
Your Honor, he simply gave the humans the technology to advance their own society. What they did with said technology afterwards
I did that shit.
is up to them. Similar to Megatron. He simply rebuilt a fellow bot. He didn't even see Megatron. He just knew Megatron was his friend. So he rebuilt his friend. Would you not do the same, Your Honor? Would you not help your dying friend? Come on, Your Honor.
Later, when he needed space bridge tech, Shockwave casually went in, messed around with Megatron's body, and zoink, yep, you've got Nova Prime and Galvatron stargating their way through his chest. Interestingly, Shockwave was one of the few...
Your Honor, you see, in the fine print, he had Megatron sign a contract to say he couldn't sue him just in case anything happened to him. So in the fine print of said contract, which I have here, Your Honor, let me look at the contract for a second, Your Honor. One moment, Your Honor. One moment. How you doing, Your Honor? You doing all right? Yeah, I got a for yep. Okay, yep, okay. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right there. Yeah, subsection A-3, Delta 9, get fucked, idiot. It says that Shockwave has full... What's that word?
Consent, nigga. The word is consent. Oh my god.
He can basically use Megatron however he wants to, according to this, Your Honor. Here you go. I'll present the evidence.
Decepticons that wasn't pulled into forming the colossal behemoth known as the Deceptigod, when all other Decepticons were, and he just stood and watched as Megatron took it on by himself.
Your Honor, that was a Megatron decision. If your friends jumped off a bridge, Your Honor, would you follow?
Now, the reason he wasn't pulled into this was because the entity that took control of the rest of the Decepticons, the Devoids, used their belief in the Decepticon cause to take control of their minds. But at this point, at least, Shockwave didn't believe enough in the cause to be lured into this, his priority being what he saw as the survival of Cybertron. After this,
exactly,
he
Your
parted
Honor,
ways with the Decepticons and re-established contact with Jihaxus, and he awoke a Titan that had been slumbering under the surface of the planet Gorlem Prime. The ore too began reacting with the ore within the Titan, which created a fearsome Necro-Titan, basically a zombie version of Metroplex, which, using Waspinator's bee stinger, yeah, you heard that right, Shockwave controlled to devastate the city of Iacon.
Your Honor. This is what we consider, well, this is what they consider in the rap community as get back, Your Honor. you see, the Fireplex, they said some mean things, Your Honor. Very mean things. They called Shockwave a beta, Your Honor. Do you know what it's like to be a beta, Your Honor? Of course you don't, Your Honor. He simply had to stand on business. Little did they know that the business he was standing on was an industrial revolution. Case closed, Your Honor.
Now, the reason he did this was to lure Metroplex back to Cybertron, bringing the Ore 7 with him, and in so doing, all of the ores that Shockwave had scattered across space.
You see, Your Honor, Metroplex was in the vicinity doing shit, Your Honor, so he couldn't allow that shit to slide. Like, he stole the ores from him, Your Honor. Those are his ores. He launched them into space.
Were now on the same planet. Uniting the Ore 7 with the Ore 2 and Ore 14 put the power of life and death in Shockwave's hands. Merging Ore 6 with Ore 8 granted him control of the potential energy of all matter, and fusing Ore 1 and Ore 13 bent the fabric of time to his will.
So basically he has an infinity gauntlet.
With all of this power now at his disposal, Shockwave set about his ultimate endgame, to collapse all of reality into a singularity the size of a pinhead, and use that to power Cybertron forever. All of the power of all of the stars, all of the planets and their molten cores, all of the lives of the universe crushed down to a single atom, to have their life forces harvested and slowly drained for eternity. Thanos did not have shit on this guy.
Wouldn't that involve Cybertron as well? Like, it would be... How would that work? I'm confused. Like, somebody that knows Transformers lore, fill me in for real. Like, I am confused, because, like, Cybertron is in the universe he's trying to crush into a pinhead. So he's trying to basically, like, give Cybertron the Big Bang energy. But it's like, how would that work when... Okay.
Shockwave was only beaten because, as he used a time machine to start draining the energy of the dead universe, scattered random moments from his life began entering his head, and...
What? Well, I guess if he does control time at that point, technically he would be viewing all of time at the same time, which would include his time, which would then include the scattered memories from before he got the treatment.
Only his singular, cold, and unemotional focus stopped him from losing it altogether. It wasn't until the sight of Megatron renouncing and donning an Autobot insignia confused him for long enough for him to lose control of this vast power. He remembered who he was before he was subjected to Shadowplay and Imperator. He remembered his friendship with Orion Pax and came to realize what he had become, and eventually asked Megatron and Optimus to blast him so that he would be consumed by the power of the time machine. At least that's what everyone thought, because what it actually did was blasted him back in time, only by 12 million years though. There, he came across a guy called Onyx. Wandering around, looking after some beasties or something, Shockwave realized that this dude would later turn out to be one of the fabled 13 Primes, the first Transformer to possess a beast mode, in fact. Anyway, Shockwave killed him? Yeah.
Your Honor, it was self-defense. Look at this nigga. No, like, seriously, Your Honor, look at this nigga. Look how he posted up.
Shockwave realized that this dude would later turn out to be...
Yeah. Like, seriously, Your Honor, look at this man. He's posted up.
Did was blasted him back in time, only by 12 million years though. There, he came across a guy called...
Look at him, and he got... And look, that looks like Megatron, but it's a fucking baboon. He's posted up. They're posted up. They got some flyers, Your Honor. He doesn't know how strong he is.
Onyx. Wandering around, looking after some beasties or something, Shockwave realized that this dude would later turn out to be one of the fabled 13 Primes, the first Transformer to possess a beast mode, in fact. Anyway, Shockwave killed him? Yeah. To step into his shoes and take his place in the timeline, setting out on another complicated master
What does he plan to do now? What is Shockwave's plans now?
That would span every corner of the galaxy in pretty much the entire span of time, with his ultimate goal to undermine all of Cybertronian history and religion, basically. He made a disciple of a guy and named him Megatronus, instructing him in the ways of war and encouraging him to build his own empire. Then, he invented the Dark Cybertron prophecy in one of those headfuck time loop moments. And then, he started engineering the fall of the 13 Primes, steering the Primes into infighting and genocidal conquests, notably the planet Antilla, where this dude invented a certain planet-sized killing machine to strike back at the Cybertronians. He also invented the talisman to end all life on Antilla, both Antillan and Cybertronian, and the whole planet collapsed into a black hole. So yeah, thanks for that, Shockwave. And if you want...
I mean, again, Your Honor, like, that was just, like, you can't really fault Shockwave for that, Your Honor. That was the other guy. Honestly.
Wondering how you could top that? You know, essentially putting yourself at the center of everything that ever happened on Cybertron.
So my client is a bit of a narcissist, Your Honor. What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't really. But in an alternate timeline in the PS2 Transformers game, Shockwave probably quite rightly rebelled against Galvatron's abusive brand of leadership and used the Zell Quartz, which could amp up the power of a Transformer tenfold to stage a mutiny. But the power was too much for even his brain to handle, and he went nuts, killing many an Autobot and Decepticon in the process, and eventually destroyed all of Cybertron. A feat that not even Unicron managed to accomplish.
He destroyed all of Cybertron?
To snuff out all life. The other Transformers had to jump back into the past to stop him finding the Zell Quartz to begin with.
I'm Prime. What? But I'm Prime. I'm Prime. What?
So, even though I'm sure I haven't covered everything he's done, we have seen how he's remorseless, how he takes the notion of calculating to a whole new level, how he's willing to go to the greatest lengths, scheming over millions of years, universal cleansing of entire civilizations, messing with time, stabbing his friends in the back, all this, and he can still get a good night's sleep.
Hey, Your Honor, all I gotta say to this is free bro.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most evil Transformers ever.
Free my bro.
Subscribe to Noodle Boy and Mr. Normal Person for friendship, a war moon, and 72 big titty golf baddies at your doorstep right now. And if you don't, I'm gonna give you this BRC. You know what that means. Freak Wave out.